Good afternoon, everyone out there in Radio Land, TV Land, whichever platform you may be listening or hearing this broadcast at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to adopt the protocol that was already established. The management and staff of Her Majesty's Prison has worked hard to protect the health of our staff and residents since the announcement of the first confirmed COVID case in the Federation from March 2020. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, people in prisons and other places of detention are likely to be more vulnerable to COVID-19 outbreaks than the general population because of the confined condition in which they live together for a prolonged period of time. It was with this risk factor in mind that we implemented a number of measures to safeguard the health of prison personnel and residents early, which include 1. Developing a plan for officials from the Ministry of Health, 2. Requiring all members of staff to wear masks at work, placing sanitization stations throughout the compound for easy access, briefing staff on situations and apprising them of health protocols that were put in place, hosting a presentation for residents, a local doctor and health expert from the Pan-American Health Organization. We temporarily suspended all outside trips for residents of Her Majesty's Prison, and we established a quarantine area where new residents would be housed for 14 days before we placed them in the general population. We were quite successful in able to prevent the introduction of the virus into the prison for just over a year and 2 months. Her Majesty's Prison recorded its first confirmed case last week on June 10th after the return of a resident's test results. The following day, the test results for 2 members of staff were positive as well. Authorities in the Ministry of Health have been testing both personnel and residents. A mass testing exercise was conducted on Tuesday, June 15th, when members of the National COVID Task Force and representatives from the Ministry of Health visited Her Majesty's Prison. While testing has not yet been completed, more than half of the staff and just about half of the residents have been swabbed. As of today, June 17th, 2021, a total of 37 residents, inmates, and 2 members of staff have tested positive for COVID-19. Please note that only the male block in Her Majesty's Prison has been affected. The female section of Her Majesty's Prison has not been affected at this time. Other staff members who had been identified were placed in quarantine and tested. Thankfully, this result has returned negative for the members of staff so far. As a result of this, we moved swiftly to implement measures to protect the health of personnel and residents. I want to assure the general public that we are doing everything we can to safeguard the health of all concerned at Her Majesty's Prison. My management team and I have been working closely with the National COVID-19 Task Force and have been receiving advice from the CMO, Dr. Laws, and what steps to be taken to contain the situation at Her Majesty's Prison. An isolation area has been established inside the prison where affected residents have been placed, and we are currently identifying additional space to house those who need to be removed from the general population to prevent a further spread of the virus at the facility and to have a speedy recovery for those who have been tested positive. All the cells in which the affected residents were previously housed have been professionally sanitized. At the moment, no items have been accepted at Her Majesty's Prison at this time. The affected persons are all in stable condition. The residents in isolation are receiving good care thus far, and we have upgraded their intake of supplements. The prison doctor makes regular checks on them and any other inmate who has health-related complaints. I would provide the doctor with regular update as to what is happening at Her Majesty's Prison. The St. Kitts and Nevis prison is the last prison in the region to be affected with the COVID-19 virus. So we have tried our best to keep it out of Her Majesty's prison, but we knew this would have happened despite the challenges. We continue to do what we can to protect the health of the residents and staff at Her Majesty's prison. The management at Her Majesty's prison has also been encouraging personnel and residents to be vaccinated and have facilitated on-site vaccination with assistance from the health officials. So far, just over half of the staff have received their first dose, with about 33% fully vaccinated. Approximately half of the residents also have received their first dose, with about 36% fully vaccinated. So we have been trying at Her Majesty's prison to do what we can to keep this virus out of the prison. We are trying our best at this time to isolate and contain Her Majesty's prison, and we will try our best to continue doing this until we are fully recovered from the outbreak inside Her Majesty's prison. Thank you.
I thank all the speakers who